thing started. First up, creative director of this trailer that you just saw here of this game, Batman Arkham Origins, Eric Holmes. You just heard him do the voice right there. It's the voice of Batman, Roger Craig Smith. If you played a AAA video game this year, you've heard this next guy's voice a couple of times. The new voice of the Joker, Troy Baker.
I had to find that.
Voice acting.
And finally, a bit of a surprise guest here. We have a producer from NetherRealm, Aaron Hippergedis. Aaron, why is NetherRealm here?
My friend.
Well, we'll be able to hear him better.
Turn on his mic! Sign language!
We're there. We're getting there. All right.
So why am I here tonight? Because we are very excited to announce right here at New York Comic Con that we are bringing Batman Arkham Origins to the mobile platforms as well. Let's see it.
Okay, let's go. Yeah.
Laptop feed. Laptop feed on the big screen.
Well, Aaron, start us off and tell us a little bit about how this game came to be, and you know, we saw some of the gameplay. It looks actually a little bit different from the mobile Injustice.
Yeah, it's absolutely different. So this is the same team that did bring you Batman Arkham City Lockdown as well as Injustice. This was developed at NetherRealm Studios in Chicago, and essentially, I mean, when given the chance to work in this universe, you know, with this great game that has been developed by the Montreal studio, we jumped at the chance. I mean, who doesn't want to make a cool Batman game, right? So it's you're going to see very different gameplay though from some of our earlier games. I mean, this time around we've got some light RPG elements. Batman's got a ton of different abilities that you can level up over time, these sorts of things. And I mean, you guys saw all the different bat suits that are there as well. I take it there's some Batman Beyond fans here in the room. So the suits in our game are much more than just a visual aesthetic. These suits actually influence the gameplay. They have different boosts, different stats, these sorts of things. So as you're fighting crime in Gotham, you might need to switch to a different suit that fits that particular environment much better. So we're really excited to bring the game out. It's coming out very, very soon.
And what platforms are we going to see this on?
It's going to launch iOS first, but before anyone kills me, it is going to Android as well.
Yeah!
Obviously on both Android
does this mobile game bring to the overall Arkham Origins experience?
So the Origins experience, I mean, if you play the console, you're going to get this really cool storyline and everything. Our game is set in that universe, but it's much more of an arcade experience. So if you're on the go, you're commuting or whatnot, you want some quick action, you can, pull out your iPad, iPhone, whatever device you've got, and get a quick little bit of action versus some of the really cool characters that you're going to see in the console version.
I know one of the things that I love the most about the Injustice mobile game is that it links into the main console game. You can unlock things back and forth. Are we going to see that with this one as well?
Absolutely. The cross-platform unlocks are going to make a return here. And for the players that have both versions of mobile and the console, there's some actually really cool rewards. Anybody like the Red Sun series, Red Sun Batman?
Yeah!
So if you've got both versions of the game and you link them up, you can actually unlock a Red Sun Batman skin. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg there. So there's a lot of different things you can unlock, all influencing gameplay in a very positive way.
Very cool. Well, before we get to our other announcement, because remember we do have two, let's talk a little bit about the Batman Arkham Origins game experience here. Eric, I want to start with you and just kind of talk about, you inherited elements of the game. You inherited the game engine and assets from Rocksteady, who I think we all agree did an amazing job.
Yes!
The core development process when you were starting out and you started out with all of those things already on your plate?
Well, I guess we had a leg up straight away because we weren't starting a game picturing what sort of encounters we might make and building from empty rooms without any sort of mechanics. We were starting with, the Arkham City final product. So we already had great fighting, we had Batman gliding and grappling around, we had a mature toolset with Unreal Engine 3. So we could really hit the ground running and we start building scenarios that work from the get-go, and we could really focus on what we wanted to add to that experience, was it new mechanics or enemies or encounters or locations.
I know you're a big Batman fan and even a Batman historian of sorts. How do you balance the Batman moments with gameplay necessity?
Starts with a hard one. I don't know if I have an answer to that question, but I think we've tried very hard to build a game that feels like an Arkham game, that feels like something which is paced like an Arkham game, which I think is one of the best parts of those games, that the amount of time you spend in a fight, the amount of time you spend navigating the world, the amount of time before you switch off and you add a puzzle or you add a stealth moment. So I think we tried to build our story, our new story, which is entirely new, involving a structure which is very much based on those previous games, because they really, they're two of the defining games of this generation in terms of action adventure. And I think that as a designer, I know when I played Arkham Asylum, I felt like my own design skills being stretched and really learning a lot from it. So we respect that game a lot, and we try to build off the models.
There's been some interesting comparisons that you guys have drawn to, of all things, Mega Man, because of the beat a villain, get his gadget kind of model. Can you kind of talk about your side of things and where that came from and how that fits into the story?
Oh, that would be a good question after we run that video, maybe. I think there's a certain amount of time people like playing things, like I said, that pacing element that was in those other Arkham games. Mechanics, enemies, the sort of stuff. I got this experience when I'm playing fighting games like that. There's a friend of mine I went to school with, and I remember when we got Street Fighter 2, and we were both playing, and he hammered me in the corner of the map. He was firing Hadokens after Hadokens after Hadokens. He wouldn't tell me how to do the damn move, and I was really frustrated because there's nothing I wanted more than to shoot those things back at him. But there was a point where it turned around because I learned how to do the hurricane kick, and you could use that to go over the fireballs and knock the guy down. And then he was very frustrated because he couldn't do his move and I wouldn't tell him how to do the other one. So I felt like that was kind of a moment which told me about an atomic unit game, how long you spend doing something with your back against the wall before you can turn around and expect that you turn around and you get that feeling against the enemies in the game. And that's true for action games too. Like usually when a new enemy type is introduced or a new mechanic, he's introduced in a simple way, and then you can struggle with it. But then usually you get some sort of upgrade, some sort of ability, or you'll break through in terms of the skill of your own side as a player, and then you start to win that guy. Just around the time that starts to become commonplace, we change it because we add something else, or we take them away, or we give them a new ability. So the idea is to keep it constantly fresh, constantly engaging, and give you these small challenge, then some sense of mastery, and then change it so you don't get bored.
Guys, I'd like you all to kind of talk a little bit about next year's Batman 75th anniversary. What kind of process do you go through when you're developing a character as an actor or as a writer when that character's already been around for 3/4 of a century? Do it, Troy!
We've been talking about this a lot today because, you know, obviously are we dealing with 75 years of a character's existence, but we're also dealing with the iterations that different actors have shown you what those characters look or sound like. And somebody asked me today, they said, what are you going to do different? What are you going to bring to this that no one has ever brought before? And I said, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because if I for 1 second think that I can do something better than Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill, or Heath Ledger is a what each of those people have done for a generation, like for my dad, Cesar Romero was the Joker. For me growing up until I heard Mark Hamill in 1990 was Jack Nicholson as the Joker. So we've all seen these different sides of these characters, and all we want to do, everybody that's up here, you're right, we're tapping into a 3/4 of a century old franchise. It's one of the oldest institutions that we have in media. And all we want to do is pay homage to that, and we want to respect the reverence that this franchise has brought to people now 3 generations. And that's incredible. Very few things can say that. So that's what we're up here to do.
Should have let Troy go first. I wanted to do gooder and stuff. Make it awesomer. No, we've been answering these questions all weekend, and honestly, look, Kevin Conroy is king. And the notion that we got the question, what new are you going to bring to this? And I agree wholeheartedly with Troy. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing that we can do. The notion of filling shoes has been brought up a lot. There's no shoes to fill. You cannot fill those shoes. Thankfully, with this, what we have is a prequel, so we can kind of play around with the timeline a little bit and explore Batman and Joker and all these other characters from a different perspective than we've seen before. But in every single minute of us recording, I'm sure all the people at Warner Brothers Montreal programming and animating, all of this musical score, every single person here is a fan of the characters. They're a fan of the game, they're a fan of the franchise. This wouldn't be around 75 years if we didn't have people doing that. And so for us, it was always like, what can we do right by this character? For me, it's the same exact thing. A lot of people ask, what did you do to prepare? Answer is, I honestly didn't do too much, because I knew going in, this guy was going to convey to the director, Amanda Wyatt, what he wanted to get done, and they know so much more about the universe that they wanted to create and achieve with this than I could ever hope to come up with. I don't know, I heard about the 75th anniversary, and I misinterpreted that as, so Batman needs to be 75 years old. My choice as an actor was completely wrong. Which is not what you guys want to see in The Dark Knight. I'm just assuming. And then we are there to say, no, it's just 75 years of history.
What's the, coming into this project, knowing that you're coming in and you're doing Batman's origin, something that has been amazingly told in comics with Year One, with the current 0 year, in movies with Batman Begins, in animated films, you know, coming in to tell his origin and do something like that again, what, you know, what,
It sounds really hard because he's got all these references. But it's kind of simple. It's a lineage, right? This is an Arkham game. You've already played Arkham Asylum. I'm pretty sure you played Arkham Asylum or Arkham City if you're here. Some of those games ended, but you didn't see how they got there, and you didn't see where they started out. And so we want an authentic Arkham experience, not just a Batman game. This is an Arkham game, and it's part of that story. In fact, it's a formative part of that story, a formative part of that world. You all know, it's not a spoiler, that James Gordon and Batman are going to be friends. Right? What? You know
Get out.
Get out.
I was going to say San Diego.
So at the start of our game, they're not. Gordon is pursuing Batman. Batman's a vigilante, he's an outlaw, and Gordon sees him as a wanted man. So we're going to show you in our story something about how that changes. And you're going to play that. You're going to be the pivotal person turning the corner in that relationship. You're going to be changing things. And I like it with puzzle pieces. We're fitting puzzle pieces together to form a picture that we know. We don't know how the puzzle pieces go together. And I think that with those, there can be moments of revelation. There can be moments of, oh, right, I see how that works. I see, that's interesting. I didn't expect that, rather than, okay, yeah, that's not like that. Yeah. Instead, I think we should have a few surprises along the way. So I think that the thing which I'm most excited about, I'm absolutely terrified about too, is when this game goes out, you guys are all going to play it, and you're going to judge it. And I hope that you enjoy those moments. I think that we've taken a few risks along the way, and I hope that's worthwhile. I think we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't try and take a few risks, because the Arkham games have been, the great games by Rocksteady. They are very innovative. They're very exciting. The quality, everything in there is very, very high. And so we've been very selective of what we've added, be it moments, features, occasions, to try and match the quality of those games. And so the story, I think, is the thing all that stuff hangs off. There's no point in adding new enemies, there's no point in adding something to the story. New features, new gadgets, they have to come from the story. And so, yeah, I guess I'm kind of meandering now, but what was the question again?
Nah.
What did you have for dinner? That was refreshing.
Is that a lot of refreshing? Yeah, no, that makes sense. Obviously, another part of the big development process here was casting these two.
Woo! Yeah! Woo!
What can you tell us about the casting process and how you settled on?
We took a really long time casting both of these characters. We knew it would be hugely problematic. We knew we wanted to have a younger sound for these characters because it's a very formative time for everyone in Origins. These guys are all physically younger. They're rebound back, but it's also they're spiritually younger. This is as new to these characters, or as new to these characters in the game as they are to these actors up here on this panel. And I think that's something that translated very well when we got them in. But in terms of finding them, we went very wide. We had a lot of people, and we put them through the ringer. We went through huge amounts of reference material. We went through stuff from various key books. We went through stuff from animated work. We included stuff on sites from the other games too to see if we could capture all those different aspects of characters. For example, Batman isn't just one voice. Batman is Bruce Wayne. Batman is Batman, but Batman also talks to Alfred, which is one voice. He talks to himself, which is another voice. And then there's also talking to his enemies, but there's also this other part where he has to turn, inspire fear in other enemies, and really bring that out. And we wanted to make sure that when we got interest in one or two of those, that they could have all of these, and that they could bring something not just interesting and original and beautiful to it, but also have that authentic Arkham sound, that they could sound like, when you hear it, that guy will eventually become Kevin Conroy's, or in the case of the Joker, become Mark Hamill, well, they each have a connection. Do you guys want to talk about your perspective?
No.